Hey, it's Chekhov. In college, a friend of mine used to draw comics on the side. Because of this, he always used to get a table whenever there was a comic convention in town. They were usually in the back of the hall, but still, he would say we were his assistants and get us in for free. One year, his table was in the far corner, by the door that convention guests would use to enter and leave the main hall. This year, the big guest was Walter Koenig, Chekhov from Star Trek. As he was getting ready to enter the main hall for his QA section, he stood by my friend's table, waiting to be announced. We tried to say hello, and my friend told him how much Star Trek meant to him when he was growing up, but Koenig just ignored him. Actually, he pretty much snubbed him, looked down his nose at us, etc. Anyway, Koenig does his QA and comes back through the door, trying to be inconspicuous. As he passes, my friend stands up and yells, "Hey, look! It's Chekhov." Whereupon the guy was immediately swarmed by every single fanboy in the room. He couldn't move, no matter how hard he tried to fight his way through the crowd. It was a good day. I'm separating you by race, alright, I'll just stand you up in front of the class. Some background before I get into anything. Me and my friend Marco attend a university abroad. We are both from Croatia, but I have an English name and he has a Croatian name. Also, my accent is all but gone as I was raised outside of my home, so he sounds very thick and I sound Croatian only when I speak the language. Furthermore, since we both speak English, we see no reason to speak Croatian unless we are alone, as we find it rude to speak our language around those who cannot understand us when we could easily speak English. So since we are both Croatian and have known each other for 10+ years and attend the same classes, we naturally do all of our work together. And in a previous post, a revenge one, check it out if you're interested, we actually got a student expelled from the class, and now this professor sort of has it out for us very subtly. For an experiment for our 30% group assignment, we were told to group up with people who were members of our race or region. I was like, meh, I'll just take Marco like I've always done and we'll smash it out in a few nights. Apparently not. So I registered myself with Marco and a Bosnian dude we knew as an Eastern European group. Easy enough. Professor immediately jumped on my ass and told me, "Sorry DAULTIM8, you're going to have to pair with a person from your country for once." Is that such a horrid concept to you? Were my rules unfair? I stared at him blankly and told him, I have chosen. Marco is Croatian too. He looked at me, laughed rather dramatically and told me that I was as much of a Croat, which is a word that if said wrong can be used as a slur, as himself, and unless I magically became Croatian the next day I'd be working with good students who speak English. Which, seeing as Marco was sitting right next to me, was quite rude. Alright professor. Easy enough to become what I already am. That night I went home, printed off birth certificates, collected my passport, driver's license, firearms license, and to really rub it in I brought proof of my military training. Many Eastern Europeans are encouraged to do a sum of military service after high school. I did my part and then headed to university. Never saw or did anything hero-worthy, just smoked in the barracks and gave food and water to poor kids in small countries. And to further rub it in I went into the albums and collected a picture of me and Marco as early angsty teenagers. The next day was wonderful. I walked in and the professor told me that he had assigned me a group of people who I'd be able to actually communicate with. With a smirk, he pulled out a chair for me at their table. I looked at him, walked right up to him, picked up the chair and brought it to the Eastern European side. His jaw was unhinged, dragging along the floor as he walked up to me and asked if I wanted to receive a fail for my subordinates and unwillingness to partake in the assignment. In response, I opened my backpack and passed him the bundle of papers I had accumulated. I then opened my wallet and took out my 3 licenses, all in Croatian, and finally my passport. He sort of stared at the bundle, flicking through, all the meanwhile poor Marco was slowly being marinated by his tears as he held in his laughter, his face flat on his desk. Once he was done, he placed the bundle on my desk. At this point, the class around us was rather confused as to what the cause of the 10-minute delay was. Seeing this, to nail in the point, I stared at the professor in the eye and said as blank as I could, "Jesam li dovoljno Hrvatski da radim sa savojim sunarodnjacima, gospodine?" Which pretty much means, am I Croatian enough to work with my countrymen now, sir? The professor, defeated and quite humiliated now, simply said, "Get to work," and walked away. We're handing in the assignment tomorrow. Thanks for watching and don't forget to give a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Have a good one.